Good Tuesday, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Conversation Daily News. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. We have course shaping news headlines coming up on this Tuesday. We have the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and in today's Entertainment Spotlight, you've been part of my conversation with model, dancer, and entrepreneur Quori Tyler Bullock. She's sharing with you guys some great tips to help you guys get refreshed as we're heading into spring. Enjoy today's broadcast. For Conversation Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Tuesday headlines. In international news, Russia faces global outrage over bodies in Ukraine's streets. Moscow faced global revulsion and accusations of war crimes Monday after the Russian pullout from the outskirts of Kyiv revealed streets strewn with corpses of what appeared to be civilians, some of whom had seemingly been killed at close range. The grisly images of battered bodies left out in the open or hastily burned led to calls for tougher sanctions against the Kremlin, namely a cutoff of fuel imports from Russia. Germany and France reacted by expelling dozens of Russian diplomats, suggesting they were spies, and President Joe Biden said Russian President Vladimir Putin should be tried for war crimes. This guy is brutal, and what's happening in Bucha is outrageous, Biden said, referring to the town northwest of the capital that was a scene of some of the horrors. Ukrainian President Zelensky left the capital, Kyiv, for his first reported trip since the war began nearly 6 weeks ago to see for himself what he called the genocide and war crimes in Bucha. He said dead people had been found in barrels, basements, strangled, and tortured. Later in a video addressed to the Romanian parliament, Zelensky said he fears there are places where even worse atrocities have happened. The military tortured people, and we have every reason to believe that there are many more people killed, he said, much more than we know now. The Russian foreign minister dismissed the scenes outside Kyiv as a stage-managed anti-Russian provocation. The Kremlin spokesperson said the images contained signs of video forgery and various fakes. Russia has rejected previous allegations of atrocities as fabrications on Ukraine's part. Ukrainian officials said the bodies of at least 410 civilians have been found in towns around Kyiv that were recaptured from Russian forces in recent days. The Ukrainian Prosecutor General's office described one room inside of Bucha as a torture chamber. In a statement, it said the bodies of 5 men with their hands bound were found in the basement of a children's sanatorium where civilians were tortured and killed. Bodies wrapped in black plastic were also seen piled on one end of a mass grave in a Bucha churchyard. Many of the victims have been shot in cars or killed in explosions trying to flee the city, and with the morgue full and the cemetery impossible to reach, it was the only place to keep the dead. But amid the fighting, a Red Cross-accompanied convoy of buses that had been stopped for days on end in a bid to deliver supplies and evacuate residents was again unable to get inside the city. European leaders and the United Nations Human Rights Chief joined the Ukrainians in condemning the bloodshed that was exposed as the Russian troops withdrew from the capital area. At the same time, many warn that the full extent of the horrors has yet to emerge. Western and Ukrainian leaders have accused Russia of war crimes before, and the International Criminal Court's prosecutor has already opened an investigation, but the latest reports ratcheted up the condemnation. In national news, Senate panel deadlocks on Jackson, confirmation on track. The Senate Judiciary Committee deadlocked 11-11 on Monday on whether to send Ketanji Brown Jackson's Supreme Court nomination to the Senate floor, but President Joe Biden's nominee is still on track to be confirmed this week as the first black woman on the high court. The committee's tie vote was expected as there is an even party split on the panel, and all of the Republicans are opposing Jackson's nomination to replace retiring Justice Stephen Breyer. But it was still a blow to Democrats who had hoped for robust bipartisan support, and it was the first time the committee has deadlocked on a Supreme Court nomination in 3 decades. In order to move forward, Democrats planned a new vote to discharge Jackson's nomination from committee and then take a series of procedural steps in the coming days to wind it through the 50-50 Senate. In more national news, arrests made in connection with Sacramento mass shooting. Sacramento police announced an arrest Monday connected to the shooting that killed 6 people and wounded a dozen others in the heart of California's capital, as at least 2 shooters fired more than 100 rounds and people ran for their lives. Police say they booked Dandre Martin, 26, as a related suspect on charges of assault with a deadly weapon and being a convict carrying a loaded gun. Detectives and SWAT team members found 1 handgun during searches of 3 homes in the area. The arrest came as the 6 victims killed were identified in the shooting that occurred on Sunday at about 2 a.m. as bars were closing and patrons filled the streets near the state capitol. And finally, in business news, stocks close higher. Twitter soars on news of must stake. Stocks shook off a downbeat start to close higher Monday as big gains by technology and communication companies helped offset losses elsewhere on Wall Street. The S&P 500 rose 0.8% after having been down 0.2% in the early going. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 0.3%, and the Nasdaq Composite added 1.9%. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's now time for the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich. Mary Ellen, take it away.
This is Mary Ellen with your Truth of the Day. Use kindness and a loving attitude when dealing with all people. We all encounter difficult people from time to time. Dealing with these people can be difficult, if not exhausting. Their behavior can affect you if you allow their negativity to become part of your baggage. You cannot avoid difficult people because through them you learn about yourself. The best way to address this type of person is with kindness and a loving attitude. You cannot change them, as the only person you can change is yourself. Speak to them respectfully. You can be assertive and still come from a loving attitude as you state your point of view. Most difficult people won't care how you feel and will not listen to anyone except themselves. Avoid being judgmental or defensive. Learn about yourself, let go, and move forward. Today, do not allow a difficult person or situation to have power over you as you enjoy the day.
We are part of my conversation coming up with Quori Tyler Bullock in today's Entertainment Spotlight. Stay with us. You're listening to Conversations Daily News. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with the Entertainment Spotlight. Model, dancer, and entrepreneur Quori Tyler Bullock joined me on Conversations Live, the radio show, to talk about what you could use to be able to refresh as we're going into spring. Here's a bit of our conversation. When it comes to kind of changing seasons, though, Quori, what are some things we should consider when it comes to our skincare routine during the spring?
Yeah, well, spring is a transformational time, so it's nice to just take a step back and reassess what's been working and what can be changed just to help you feel like your best self.
And I think for all of our audience, I think for the men and women out there, that's a great thing. So for you, what are some of your favorite beauty trends to keep you refreshed that you can share with our audience?
Yeah, so since salon treatments weren't always an option over the past couple of years, right, I've perfected the at-home spa day. So I just like to take a night to myself. I do a hair mask, a face mask, teeth whitening, the whole works. But anyone could really add any other treatments that just help you to feel rejuvenated. One of my favorite tips to give is for a nice morning boost. I recommend putting your jade roller in the freezer at night before you go to bed. And then when you wake up in the morning and you use your jade roller, it's just going to help to wake up your face and to reduce any puffiness. A cold jade roller is actually one of the most useful tools when it comes to circulating blood flow.
Good to know there. So for the ladies out there, Quori, what are the beauty bag essentials that they should know about as they're heading into the spring?
It's going to be all about personalization. For me, it's important to make sure that the products I'm using are targeting my unique skin concerns. Try elevating your skincare routine by focusing on your specific needs. But personally, I really like the Olay AHA Booster and Olay Whip SPF 25 Moisturizer combo. It's great at targeting uneven skin tones, which is something that I battle with sometimes. And with the new Olay Boosters, you can really just customize your beauty routine by adding them to your facial moisturizers.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning in to this edition of Conversations Daily News. We'll be back to guys on tomorrow with more news, Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and of course your Entertainment Spotlight. Until then, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Daily News today. Let's make it a great one.